What if that negative or constructive feedback that you keep receiving at work is actually revealing your strengths? My name's Shauna Cole, and this is Career Interrupted. So Tom's a professional engineer, and he did what he was supposed to do. He went to school, he got good grades, he got a corporate job, and progressed to a management position. Living the dream. And here he is in this management role, and he keeps getting the same feedback over and over and over again. Tom, you're great with the data and you're great with the numbers, you're great with the analytics, but you're not so great at the people side of things. Your direct reports don't really like working for you, and they have a hard time relating to you. Over and over and over again, he gets the same feedback year after year. And he smiles and he nods and he accepts it, and he goes and takes some course online and still gets the exact same feedback again next year. Jenna, on the other hand, gets different feedback. Jenna is personable, she's really social, she's great at building relationships, and she's an HR professional. And she gets this feedback year after year after year. Jenna, you're great, but you might want to tone it down a little bit. Your personality, well, it's a little bit much for this corporate culture. You're maybe a little bit too friendly with the managers and with candidates coming in. And Jenna takes the feedback and she says, okay, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to take some courses on it. And still, year after year after year, she gets the same feedback. Be less social, be less personable, be less into the numbers, they say to Tom. Be less into the data. So in both cases, these folks are getting the same feedback over and over and over again. And in both cases, they accept this feedback and they say, these are things that we need to fix about ourselves in order to be successful in the current work context that we're in. So these pieces of feedback are being identified as the deliverer of the feedback and the receiver too, as key weaknesses that these folks need to overcome. And I want to challenge you today to think differently about the feedback that you're receiving. What if the feedback that Tom's getting tells us that he's actually like a superstar at data? His key strength is at analyzing information. And what if there's a piece of her that could really thrive in a role or a company that really truly valued her ability to build relationships and be friendly and be too much, as she's described in her current culture? What if these things that are identified as weaknesses are actually strengths for these individuals? And what if they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, in the wrong role, maybe at the wrong company? That's one possibility. And I think it's a possibility that we have to consider, and we don't often do that. If you keep getting the same constructive feedback year over year, and it's related to something that makes you uniquely you, consider the fact that this is actually a key strength, not in fact a weakness. Consider the fact that the feedback is probably coming from one person, and that's just their opinion of you. So let's consider all the possibilities. Let's consider that this piece of feedback that you're receiving about being too much or too data-driven or whatever is in fact what makes you awesome and a skill that you should be leveraging in your career. Totally, there's going to be times where feedback is valid and we want to take it in and we want to learn from it. And I think we can always take one little lesson at least away from the feedback that we're receiving. But I want to encourage you to think critically about it too, because I think it's something that we don't often do, especially if we're working in a corporate world. We typically take feedback from folks who are more senior in the organization as being 100% true. And well, guess what? That's not always going to be the case. Have you ever been in a situation where you get feedback and you're like, dude, I've never heard anyone say that about me ever in my life, not even my mom. It doesn't make sense. It's okay to challenge feedback in a critical way. It's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to completely disagree. So think critically the next time you get feedback, and consider the possibility that maybe you're in the wrong place. Maybe you're in the wrong role. And maybe you should be looking for something that actually takes that weakness that it's being called and uses it for what it truly is, a strength, what you have to offer the world. If you're feeling like you're stuck, please check out my video on career clarity, where I help you find your true career vision. I'll link to that in the description here as well. Okay, take that feedback or leave that feedback. You do you, whatever feels right. Learn from it, but at the end of the day, one person's opinion, and you could actually be getting a key piece of information that's going to help you find, live your true purpose, and have a career that you're actually going to love, because you don't have to try to suppress who you actually are every single day of life, which is exhausting. If you found this video helpful, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and remember to make change work.